Okay, we're going to discuss how to set up the tubing on this video. Before we talk about tubing, I just want to explain what we do today that seems to work for everybody is for the sheet metal. On the sheet metal, we just leave the unit of measure set to each. We don't use any conversions. We just uh, list out the size of the sheet, and then when we go to build a router or a coat, we just use the inches in both X and Y, and then the cost would turn out to be zero point 0.2 of a sheet or a zero point 0.4 of a sheet. And then when purchasing goes to make an order based on the order quantity, it rounds up to the either one sheet or two sheets, whatever that number comes out to be based on the total. So on this note, and the price is the price of the full sheet because you are using each in everything, and each seems to work. Each is the easiest and the simplest form of unit of measure set where there are no conversions involved. Everything is each and it seems to work for everybody. So now we're going to talk about tubing, and especially with any structural steel or steel, any commodity, we can either go by pound or go by feet, go by inches, or go by a full length. So, but depending upon what we pick to be our unit of measure set, we have to do a few other things for the whole thing to work properly. But if you use each, then you have less work behind the scenes. You don't need to think about how to set everything up and how everything kind of flows together. So, and that's what we seem to have chosen for the sheet metal. And so I'm just going to go and explain the tubing now. I'm going to take two different materials that are both tubing. One, I'm going to leave it as it is, which is set to length in feet, and the other one is set to each. So let's look at those. This one, by the looks of it's a round mechanical tubing, so, and wall thickness of 60 thousandths. It's set to length in feet, and the stock length is 288, which is in inches. And now if you go look at the price is set to one foot. It's going to cost us $2.50. So from the looks of it, it seems to everything seems to be working because you said it to length in feet, and then the price is also in that same denomination. So now let's look at another one, which is in each. So this is set different material and set to each, and there is no conversion required, and the price is the price of the sheet. So based on this, we're going to go look at our unit of measure set for both of them. So the length feet unit of measures is it's the same. You have to convert. Okay, I want to code it in the foot, but when I'm shipping it, I just want to ship it as length, and this whole thing, and there is no unit of conversion because when you receive it, you are saying that I'm going to buy it in foot, and when I receive it, I'm going to buy it in length, which has no real meaning, or each for that matter. So, and if you go back to each and look at the unit of measure for each, everything is each and everything seems to be, there is no complexity there. And now we'll go try to see what it does to the code and the routers and the purchase orders. So I just took the same example we took in the last video and added these two different tubes to this code. One is 60 thousandths wall and one is 8 gauge wall. So now, so the 60,000 wall is the one that it seems to look right, because unit of set measure is in feet and the price is also in feet. So now watch this. When you when we say 60 inches is the part size, and then 62 inches is your blank size, and then whatever bar end, that's, or tube end I should say here, which is going to be 4 inches left behind, which is of no value. And you can see the cost of it is, it's calculating based on the $2.50 per foot value. It's not really doing, it's not taking the cost of the last cost, it's not taking any of those things into consideration. And now let's, so that's where we end up having to tweak few things to see. That's what our estimators does now. They try to make it work and go to drop down menu and pick something that makes some sense, or they try to play with this number. So, and now when they do that, they are not really going back into item master and making any changes, and they're not expected to either. So that's where the problem comes in. And you're already starting to see the item master is not really working when it becomes a quote. And let's look at this one. In the each, so I use the same numbers, and 60 inches of the part size that's coming from the drawing, and then 62 inches, which is just for the cutoff, and 4 inches of the bar end. And now you can see it's starting to make some sense. The whole length is $118 last time we paid, and then we the piece price comes down to $29.70. And not only that, so of course when you go to the router, you're simply, especially when you're building a router, you wouldn't really know. You think everything is working because there is no prices to even tell you whether things are working out or not. So you just go in and look at the drawing and type in the 60 inches and 62 inches, and everything seems to be like working. And yeah, I want to use it in feet, that's fine. But you can see the numbers don't really add up properly. And same thing here. Now this is the one that is set to each, and this, you can also see how you received it. Let's go, it'll make more sense when you go create a work order from this and then a PO eventually. So I have this router. I'm going to go create another work order 1882560. 1882560. So I'm going to say I need to make 4 of this part number. So like previously, we're going to turn off the sales order section. So we are creating an internal work order and click create. And sure, we created a work order which is 34122, quantity of 4. And now we're going to go look at 34122, search, and here are the 2 tubes that we will be looking at. One 60,000, the other one is 156. 60,000, the one with 60,000 is the one that we left it at feet, and the one with the 150 or 8 gauge is the one that we have it at each. And let's go create a PO, and here are the two things that we're going to create and assign. Okay, so the route, but if we select it to send to primary supplier and click OK, yeah, okay, now the purchase order has been created for these two things. You can see the problem right away when, okay, it's telling us that you need one length of each, but that one length is saying, yeah, the first one is $118, which is the one with 8 gauge wall, and the one that says, let's see, yeah, the 60,000 wall, it's saying that you need one length at $2.50. So let's try to see what the unit of measures are for both materials. Yeah, you can see that each, it's converting it to, okay, I need one length of one each at $118, and here it's saying that I need 1 feet at $2.50. Yeah, it does make sense that 1 feet is $2.50, but you can't buy just 1 feet. You need to buy a whole length, which comes in 288 inches long, which is really 20 feet. So this should work like 20 feet, should always come down as 20 feet, or you should say one each at a price, whatever that 20 times 2.5, which is 100. So that's where the problem is. If you are using each, it kind of works without you having to worry about dealing with conversions. And the reason why I'm recommending each is because we already have a system set up for all sheet metal, all commodities in sheet metal set up as each with the price of the whole length or the whole sheet size, 4 by 8 or 4 by 10 or any of those combinations. So when you go try to do this, the problem is you need to figure out for each and every one and then make sure that unit of measures is set properly and work, because you don't know, because when you're looking at the item master it seems to work, and when you're looking at coding you are making changes to make the numbers work for you, but then when it turns into purchasing, Scott spends time again trying to make some sense out of this. So now we'll go try to receive it. Let's say Scott figured out, hey, this is wrong, and now he'll go and say, okay, I know this is wrong because I can recognize that this is in feet, so let me change it to 100 because 20 feet is 100, and he'll fix it. Now it's time for somebody in the front office to receive this a day or two later. So when they go to create a receiver, they're receiving one of each of the two different materials, and now click OK. So they created a receiver, but just watch this. The one is that is set to length in feet. The inventory on hand is 32, so assuming it's 32 feet, but not. And then the one that's set to each, we have one on hand, one length of that. So now when you go to the receiving and try to confirm this, watch what happens. On this one, the one set to feet, you can see it changed from 32 to 33, but it's still in feet. So you really receive, even though Scott fixed the price on his end in the PO, when somebody goes to receive it, it's saying that, oh, you still got only one extra feet of that tube. And now if you look at this one, the one that is set to each, you have two on hand, two of those lengths. So really, the easiest way to kind of fix the issue we have, especially when we have a lot of tubes, a lot of structural steel in different routers and different, so the best way is to kind of come up with the simplest form that works for everybody. I'm not saying that we should not go with foot, or we should not go with pounds, or whatever combinations, but I think because we have already built our system for all sheet metal as each, I'm proposing that we should stick with each on the tubing. That way there is not a big learning curve for everybody trying to figure out what they should be doing. And also it makes it easier when you're coding or routing, you look at a drawing and then you can just punch it in inches, just like we would do it on the sheet metal. So yeah, that's my recommendation, but we have to be careful when we go and use any other combinations, just like we talked about in hardware for or boxes. We need to be extra careful and test each and every category before we go, and because if you only fix one thing, it looks like you're fixing it, you took care of it, but really when somebody else goes to do their function in a different module, it doesn't seem to do it. It creates more problems and confusion. So we feel like we are working hard every single time trying to fix somebody else's mess. So, and that's the reason for me to push for the each on the tubing. So yeah, watch it and we can discuss it tomorrow when we are all ready. Thank you.